Hello, friends, and welcome back. It is one of my favorite times of the year. It is the Spellbinders Spring Warehouse Sale. They have 2 warehouse sales every year, and they have dies, stamps, hot foil plates, better press plates, like at the best discounts you will see anywhere all year. And so I want to help you navigate this sale. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sarah Liz from Sassy's LLC, and I am on a mission to make card making more affordable and more accessible to everyone. To help you with this, I release free printable sentiment kits on the first and third Friday of every month. You can use them on all your card making and paper crafting products because I think it's important that everybody be able to participate in this hobby of ours. It also means if I see an insane sale like this one, I try to organize it to make it so if you're going to do some shopping, it's easy to stay within your budget and to find the best discounts without getting overwhelmed. So here's the Spellbinders homepage, and I'm just going to click on Spring Cleaning Warehouse Sale. And it looks like it's organized pretty cleanly. We have $1, $3, $5, and $10 deals. But here's the thing. If an item is priced at $2.50 or $7, it's not going to end up in any of those sort of categories, okay? Those categories are really to give you like the doorbuster deals, the things that are more than 50% off. It's a really great place to start. But then we have this other category over here called best selling deals. And there's a ton of great stuff in here. In fact, if I go all the way down to the bottom, we have 22 pages of really great stamps and dies and inks. Some of them are Spellbinders brands, but Spellbinders carries a lot of other brands too. So what I did was to try to organize this sale for you by price, including everything. Let me show you. Below the video, if you click on more or show more, that will unpack our description box, and you're going to find a couple of things at the top. First, I have a visual supply list because there's a very limited amount of space in this description box, and it will let you see pictures of the different items organized by price. Then I have linked to 2 playlists. The first is the Emergency Card Kit playlist, and that's where you'll find all the videos that contain the free printable sentiments that I've been releasing for the past 2 years. So if you're not looking to spend any money, click there. I have tons of freebies for you. I also have a smaller playlist that is really just sentiments that were inspired by a Spellbinders set or a Spellbinders club. And so if you already love Spellbinders and have a bunch of their products, you can get more out of what you already have by finding new sentiments. Below that, for those of you who aren't particularly interested in shopping by price, I've broken this into the different categories as best I could. So if you like critter, stamps and dies, or past clubs, items from Simon Hurley, better press, embossing folders, dies, or holiday items, when you click on those, it will take you over to Spellbinders, and I've done my best to use their tools to sort of filter down and get that so it's just whatever category it's presenting for you, okay? And so it's often going to be a mix of different products. Then I've linked to different collections. It used to be bundles, but Spellbinders doesn't always do bundles anymore. And sometimes the bundles aren't your best value. I will say on the Propagation Garden, this is over 75% off. This bundle in particular is a screaming deal. That said, over here, you'll notice some of the items that are in that bundle are already deeply discounted. So I always want you to be able to see the prices for individual items and the price for the bundle, so you aren't getting sort of tricked into buying a bundle thinking that was your best value. Those collection links will help you to see if there are pieces in the collection that are at deep discount, like $1. We'll look at that guy in a minute, but sometimes other items in the collection aren't on sale at all. Here, this particular collection, the storytelling stuff that came out, it's all sort of scrapbooking stuff. A ton of it is on mega sale, which is exciting. So I've definitely linked that one towards the top. But then we get to things like Gnome Drive. This has been one of my very favorite collections for a long time. There were originally 5 pieces in this set and a stamp set, I want to say, and they're sold out of 2 of them. So one of them was still here last night. It's gone today. If you're interested in anything from Gnome Drive, these had been on clearance, I would grab them. Then there's one more I wanted to show you over here. This is the big birthday bundle. This has been out for a couple of years now, but it is this huge collection with tons of really great stuff in it, and it's half off. Most of the items in that collection cannot be purchased separately anymore. And so sometimes there will be collections like that where there is still a bundle. One of the others that's like that is the Envelope of Wonder. This has been a favorite of mine for a long time as well. So here you can see there are 3 die sets still available, but the surprise favorite for me from the Envelope of Wonder was Autumn Wonder, and now you can only get it in the bundle. Okay, so if you're looking for something and you can't find it, maybe check the collections and you might be able to find it in a bundle. After that, everything is organized by price. So these are items that are exactly $1, exactly $3, then $3.50 to $4.99, exactly $5, and so on. There are tons of products up to $30, $35 that I was still picking and putting into the visual supply list. So this is what the visual supply list looks like. Okay, and I can kind of scroll through here and you'll see you'll get those same sort of markers dividing things for you. This thing is really long. It has way more than I was able to fit in here because I needed to save room to later go on and put like time markers in here. So you should be able to skip through the video pretty easily to find the different categories. But it's really important to me that you have something like this that helps you stay within your budget. So if you know you've got a budget of $20 or $25, you're going to stick to these really low dollar items. And when you're out of your 20 bucks, you're done. And you can just quit scrolling, right? If you want to do it from the visual supply list, I can stop here and be like, okay, and I'm not tempted by all the other stuff being thrown at me along the way. I hope this is really helpful for you. Let's go to the tabletop and dig in. All right, buckle up. We got a lot to cover, and we're starting with $1 deals. This is Dancing in the Rain, you guys. This came out last summer. It's so cute. She dances. There's a little hole here so the legs will swing back and forth. I didn't make mine swing. Instead, my interactive element, I made this light up. My studio lights are really bright. It's sort of hard to see, but I think it's super cute. This is originally a $24 die set. I'm gonna round up because I don't want to say 99 cents all video long. So we'll call it $24 down to $1. Then down from $8.99, this is an embossing folder. It's an A2 size, and I haven't even finished these. I just quickly embossed and ran some ink over them. It says thanks. It's got this great beveled edge. There's a bunch of different sentiments. I only have samples for this one, but $8.99 down to $1. All right, this is the word magic. It's from the storytelling collection. You get the die and a shadow. I'll show you all the pieces of this card in a minute, but here it is. That is $1 down from $6.99. Then for $1, we have the Propagation Garden stamps and coordinating dies. This was originally $25. I love the sentiments. All things grow with love. It takes a long time to grow an old friend. And I love the font, like when the R goes underneath the O or the R under the I. Ugh, I love it so much. So that is a screamin' bargain. You can pair this with all kinds of plants and flowers that you may already have. Then we have 2 sets of ephemera. I think it's the Dance in Watercolor and Dance in Watercolor Holiday. I made a bunch of these last year, and so they dance like your dancing dies. And there are some that are holiday themed and some that are birthday themed. Not all of them dance, but there are tons of pieces in here. I think I made 10 cards, and this is what's left. So I think those are a great deal, and they're really, really stunning. I love the color selections through both sets. Our next category is $3, and I have a few more of those beveled edge embossing folders, a gift for you. Hello, happy birthday. These fit an A2 card front. This was the sample that said thank you. These are originally $8.99, and here they're down to $3. One of my all-time favorite embossing folders is the Flower Frenzy. It's a 3D embossing folder, and it will fit half a sheet of cardstock. I have a couple samples for you. This is originally a $15 embossing folder, and it's down to $3. You guys, if you don't already own this one, please grab this. It is just like an all-purpose flower background, and it's such a deep emboss, and it's gorgeous. Another favorite of mine at $3 is the Merry and Bright Tree. It's a small little die set. It's really great for the holidays. I've done all kinds of fun things with it. So this one is an interactive card. If you're looking for tutorials for any of the cards I'm showing you, just from my homepage, so youtube.com/@Sassy'sLLC, there's a search bar and just search for whatever product we're talking about at the time. And it should bring up the cards that I'm making. This one was from Crop and Create. We did this with Kim Kesty, and I absolutely love it. Originally $16.99, Badges of Honor is now down to $3, and I love all of the detail. Like, do you see the great debossed accents in there? I do have a free printable that has these sentiments in them, so in case you're looking for something like that, just look for Badges of Honor on my channel. Our next category is $3.25 to $4.99. And so these are my absolute favorite gems. I am not the kind of crafter who puts bling on everything or sequins on all the stuff. These are pretty affordable to start with. They're usually at $4.50. They're down to $3.37. And I have dozens of them just in case I run out. I love that the smallest ones are teeny tiny. There aren't a lot of other brands that I have that get that small. So these I think are a great find. They have lots of other color options. Coming in at $4.12, down from $5.50, is the Serenade of Autumn Vellum with foil. This is the layered Cosmos pattern. There's like a better press plate that will do this. Well, if you don't better press or you don't hot foil, you can get that pattern in here. There's, I think, 6 pieces, 3 different designs. I've been hoarding this one. I have the layered Cosmos, but it's still, and I think it's so beautiful. It's a really great pattern. Most of the individual hot foil rolls are down to $4.50 from $6. So if you have colors that you use a lot of or new favorites, now is a really great time to restock. There are also some 4-packs that we'll talk about later that are also on sale. But really, I love getting staple pieces that I was going to have to buy anyway on sale. Also, I wrote a note to remind myself I'm buying a bunch of Better Press reinkers. They're also $4.50, down from $6. Those pads, they're not very big, right? And so they do need to be reinked more often than a full-size pad. So always great to get them at a discount. All right, I have 4 die sets, originally $7. They're down to $4.79. This is the flowering tree. It's this little thing, but it is so cute. And then this thank you has the same font as the hello and smile, 2 separate die sets. Hello and smile come together, and then thank you. And then there's a larger one that we'll see a little bit later on. But I love a word die. I just think it can do such great work to be a focal point on your card. And then this one, I don't have a card with this one right now. It's the Sweet Birdie. They're actually 2 birds about this size. They're small. They're small, but again, it's a bargain at $4.79. We're about to hit the sweet spot. At exactly $5, you can get tons of amazing options. So the first one is actually the embossing folder that's in the background. It's called One Stitch at a Time, and it's like a little needle and thread pattern. It's pretty subtle. The other pieces that came out with the clubs at the same time as this are on sale. Okay, we'll get to them down the road, but no, if you want a nice background for them, that's down to $5. Then this is the Artful Brushes. So this is originally $16.99. It's down to $5, and I've used it here to make like an actual paint feeling paintbrush. Then we also have the 3D embossing folder. It's the Floral Expression 3D embossing folder that I think was one of the Club Kits 3D embossing folders. So that would make it originally $20, and it's down to $5. I've used it on both of these cards for very different looks. We have a bunch more at $5. So this one is skating into the holidays. It was a small die of the month. It's supposed to be an ice skate with foliage and a poinsettia, which is great, but that's very seasonal. So I made some Doc Martens. You are totally, absolutely 110% enough. And I have many people I could give this to. I've made a couple of them. Autumn Scarecrow, which was the small die from September. Like, this hasn't even been out that long. I am not a huge scarecrow person, so I turned it into a really important character from Wicked. I have been changed for good. I have a whole bunch of free Wicked sentiments you can download, but then I found that I loved all the small pieces in there, the little pumpkins and the leaves and the crow and the hat. That made this whole set absolutely priceless for me. So I made a couple of these cards where they kind of open up like this. It's just a nice fun fold. So I was surprised by this one at $5. I think that's the best price. This is the Pumpkin Patch 3D embossing folder, originally $20. And I used some lunar paste and some Lindy's Magicals and just did a really fun technique. Orange, and then I used like a paint pen to go over those little bits in gold. Happy birthday, pumpkin. I have a whole set of like fall and Halloween themed birthday sentiments so you can stretch those fall supplies. Feather Flourish, and then this butterfly. We'll get to the butterfly later, but Feather Flourish is in the background here. And I just used some metallic paint back there. It's so pretty. So this is a regular 3D embossing folder, originally 15 down to 5. I don't know where my hot foil plates went, but this is the Joyful hot foil pair of plates. So I foiled one in gold and then one in silver, and I used a little metallic ink. That is $5 and a really quick and easy card. These are the Everlasting Squares. These are so versatile. You can use them on all kinds of projects. $5 down from $24. We have a pair of die sets that I just adore, athletic apparel and jersey numbers. Yes, I made a Travis Kelce jersey, you guys, and yes, we lost. It's fine. I'm getting over it. But in the meantime, I could also then make a sports jersey for my son who plays baseball, or a polo shirt for my husband who thinks he can golf. So there are tons of applications for this. Athletic apparel is originally $23.99. Jersey numbers is originally, I want to say $18.99, and they are both $5. Down from $20 is the stencil of the month called Summertime Graphics. And so I have two stencils here that use that beach ball. I did like a 2-for-1 situation. And so there's 3 stencils that make the beach ball, but then I also get some clouds and some bold graphic pieces here. So that's how I did my clouds down here, and I used a little white embossing powder. This is super versatile and a lot of fun. That was the last of our exactly $5 items. Next, I'm moving on to the Paper Rose Rainbow Twirl pattern paper. This stuff is beautiful, you guys, and I've been hoarding it. It is absolutely stunning. Spellbinders carried a ton of Paper Rose Studios papers, and they're slightly glossy. Can you see that? I love that, and I love the bright colors. I have a handful of them. They've got 6x6, they've got 12x12, and they're on sale. I'm worried that they're getting rid of Paper Rose. So this paper was originally $7.50 and it's now down to $5.24. There are also die cut pieces, like not metal dies, but paper dies that are down to $5.24 as well from $7. And they coordinate beautifully with this collection. And then there's also a Rainbow Twirl 2.0 that has the same color palette. Down to $5.99 from $8 are the shaker domes. I want to say there's 4 different shapes that they have, and there are coordinating dies that you can get. They're like nested shape dies for each of them. I love this fresh picked shape. It's a really unique, but the arches are really standard. And so there's a good chance you could find an arch that would fit here. These are lovely. You just put a little adhesive around the outside and you get this great shaker action. I have 3 2D embossing folders to share with you that are $6 down from $10. This is the Diamond Plaid embossing folder. I do not have a sample with this one anymore, but I love that it's this great geometric pattern. And then we have the Monoline Stars. There is, I want to say it's a hot foil plate, but it might be a better press in this same pattern. This is the cheaper way to make that same pattern. I do not have a sample for this one either. Don't let anyone tell you a 2D embossing folder is less awesome than a 3D embossing folder. This one is Peppermint Stripes. There is also a better press plate that makes something very similar. But again, if you don't have that machine, $6 instead. I have a few samples for the Peppermint Stripes one. So here's actually that Miriam Bright tree again, but you can see in the background, I love that you get like thicker and thinner lines. And then here, this is actually the better press version. So if you want to see like what's the difference, not much. This one has a deeper emboss. Okay, this one's easier to ink. So you've got lots of options, and we'll talk about that down the line. All right, next I have a handful of dies that are $7.19 down from $12, starting with the classic kitty cats, and I've put it on an ugly Christmas sweater. These are really great. They're just silhouettes. I bought that for my son and then I stole it. Smart glasses. These actually fit on your Dancing Panda and your Dancing Dragon, but I've just used them here to sort of match them with the sunglasses that are on my pineapple patterned paper, and I love that a lot. Also, all of these started at $12. Roller Disco Dottie, absolutely a favorite. Like, look at this one. You can skip those little roller skates. She doesn't have to wear them, but why wouldn't she, right? Absolutely adorable. And then I have a few more. Hang on. Same price point, originally $12, now $7.19. I do not have a sample with this one. It's the Needle Worker Toolkit, and it's the little like bird scissors, and they're so, so cute. It's a small set. And then my hero that pairs really well with the badges of honor. I didn't use them on those cards, but I've used it on another one kind of like that. And then the last one at that price point is the Fairy Tale Carriage. And on the inside of this one, we have this carriage right here. If you want to see how I made that interactive mechanism, I did not use any specialty dies for that. There is a tutorial and like a printable and everything. But just look for Fairy Tale Carriage or Magic and you should find it. We'll talk about that castle in a little bit. Also at $7.19, there are a whole bunch of these everyday occasion florals that are on sale. But actually none of my samples are on sale. I'm going to show you just kind of what these are. They're better press plates and they all have the same florals. So the link that I have is actually to look at the entire collection, and some of them are on sale right now. They're a really easy color and they make for a great monogram. So if you have like J, just a note, you can take off the ust a note and just do the J. And I love that about them. So I did want to share those. I think that's a pretty good price. Better press plates aren't cheap. So I've really loved these. All right, the link to these is only in the visual supply list because I was running out of room. There are a handful of dies that came out as like the bonus item in the deluxe caboodle. You only get it if you buy all of the clubs for a month. It's a really good bargain. You save about 60%, but you can't get them any other way except sometimes during warehouse sales. So this is You're My Favorite Monster. I don't remember the name of this one, but like they're all together in that list. This is the little chick. There's a dancing watermelon. There's a little frog with a witch's hat, and they are $8.24 down from $11. All right, I have a huge pile of supplies that are exactly $10. It's gonna fall over, so I'm gonna put them back in my bin, but look, just $10 and I love it. Okay, we're starting with a card that I made last week, this little shaker, and I love this. So for the circles here, you can see it's like a double stitch there. And in our die set, you'll get both the outer circle and the inner circle. And then there's some little like drop-ins that you can put in there. I wanna say this is originally $25 and it's down to $10. It has been on the clearance list. So I don't know if we will see it come back again once this sale is over. This is sitting pretty. It's a small die of the month, originally $27-ish. Clubs just went up, so I'm not sure how they're listing it, but this is $10. It has these little birds you can put in your flower, and that was a little distracting to me when I was like, I don't know if I want that club. But the flowers themselves are beautiful, and you can skip the birds. So I love this one. This was a large die of the month, so originally $40, and it has these absolutely gorgeous blooms. It's been on clearance lately at $28, but like, look at this. Like, look at the size of my hand, the size of that flower. He's on sale for $10. One of my all-time favorites. This is the Pins and Needles jar, originally a large die of the month, so $40. And here's that sewing jar. This also has those really beautiful scissors that were on the other cards that had like the needle embossing folder in the background. You can see that embossing folder here too. But then I also made it into a jar of lemonade. And I think this one's my favorite. It is super versatile. In the video where I made this one, I cut out the inside of it using the cut lines that are already there to make a stencil, but you could use that same technique to turn it into a shaker. I have two peacocks for you at $10. My friends, this is the peacock butterfly. It is so, so beautiful. Originally $33 down to $10. And then this one, originally $30, I made a peacock on Friday. I don't know where it is. I made 3 cards on Friday and I was like, oh, those will be great as samples. And they're gone. I have no idea. Maybe my kids came in, or maybe I need to clean my craft room. Both could be true. 2 things can be true at the same time. This $10 set is called Sporting Goods. It is originally $33, and you can see the football here, and it's a really great because there's just one backer piece to put behind it. So 2 pieces for that die, and it's really easy. This has all the sports balls, okay? So we have golf, bowling, basketball, soccer, volleyball, lacrosse. I've never seen a lacrosse set before. So this was really exciting for me when this came out. This is the whole collection. And I can't remember. It's Justine Dvorak's collection of sports stuff. It's all been on clearance. So if these sell out during this sale, I don't know if they'll bring them back. A lot of times this is when we see things kind of go away, or like they're trying to clean the warehouse out. So just be aware of that if this is something you might want for Father's Day cards, or any of those. Like my husband's birthday is right by Father's Day. So I do double duty and then just make a bunch of cards. I love word dies, and this particular pair of word dies I love a lot because you get 3 layers to the word die and they come with stamps. So this is the A Little Hello, and you've got one stamp that says hello, or a little hello, or hello, how are you? Hello, miss you lots, right? You stamp it once, you die cut one time, and it will cut out all those sub-sentiments for you. I used my own because I make my own, but you would not have to. And then this one is the same font, and it says smile, and then you've got, it looks good on you, it's your special day, it's the best medicine, it's your birthday, right? There's tons of great options in here. These are originally $25 and they're 10 a piece. This is the colorful pumpkin stencil of the month, and I've used it here. It's got a bunch of layers to it. I wasn't sure I'd like this one, but I fell in love with it. This is originally $20 and it's down to 10, and we have 5 different stencils. I love when they do it like that, and it just gets really easy to stencil and not have to mask anything off. So I was a big fan. This was also a stencil of the month at $20. It's called Tropical Spray. And I guess it certainly could look like water droplets, but I think it could look like all kinds of things. This came out, these birds, you guys, have been out of stock, and I'm so hoping they will bring them back, these little tropical birds. But you can see the stencil in the background here. That's on sale for $10. 3D embossing folder of the month from June of last year, originally $20. This is called Summertime Citrus, and then there's another word on the end of it, but I forgot to put it on here, and now I never remember. But I love it. You get really great detail. I took a white ink pad over the top, and then I used some yellow metallic paint around the edges, and I just think it's so much fun. I love citrus and the look of citrus. So $10 down from 20. All right, I am trying not to trip all over the wording on this one. Efflorescent Flora. This was the 3D embossing folder a while back. This is my other like flower go-to. So one was Flower Frenzy. That's I think $3 right now that we talked about way in the beginning. This one is 10. Originally maybe 20. If this was from a club, it would be 20. If it wasn't a club, it would have been 15. But it's got these big round leaves. And it's just whimsical. There's a lot of like a curling business in the pattern. Let me grab some black cardstock and maybe you can see this better. Do you see that? I love this one. So a big win. This one doesn't always go on sale. Okay, I have lots of dies that are $10.19 down from $17. And we're going to start with Shine Bright. It's just the dies, so just the wording. There is, or there was, a stencil available that would let you do this piece in the background. I think we made these during the Weekender last year. There was a retreat, like a virtual retreat called the Weekender that was last May. They're doing another one this year. I think kits go on sale on the 18th or 19th. I will try to put like a post in my community tab when it's available. I'm going to sign up again for sure. And at the end of this video, when it's recommending other videos to watch, I'll have that emergency card kit playlist for you. But I also have an unboxing of last year's Weekender kit. It was more expensive. The price has come down this year, but I will say it was amazing. I thought we got tons of product. The classes were great. We made a bunch of cards, and like these are 2 of the cards that we made. So a lot of fun. I would highly recommend. I thought it was a pretty good bargain too. So I will try to link that for you at the end. Then one of my all-time favorites, the dancing penguin. His little feet move, right? And I think he's so stinking cute. I am worried he's not going to be around much longer. The other dies that came out at the same time he did, most of them are gone. Most of them have been retired. And then this guy, the cutest little Grim Reaper you ever did see. The #1 cause of death is too many birthdays. I loved this die so much. I did a whole set of sentiments that were birthday Halloween themed, so I could give myself a reason to buy this die. And then I left myself a little note. There's also a birthday dino, a dancing birthday monster that are the same sale. So they're $10.19 down from $17. And then the happy birthday wishes word die is that same price point. So I didn't want to forget to tell you that, but these are some favorites. And then I have a few more at that same price. This is the festive ornaments, and I love them. A bunch of stuff came out in this same collection, and they're super quick and easy to put together and really adorable. Same price point. So kind of, unless I say otherwise, these are all that $10.19. Here we finally get to that castle that's on sale. I was so pleased at how this came together. I did some really, really basic ink blending just on the sides, but that was it. And it is really quick. The Halloween ghost dog. This was another reason I made sentiments. I thought he was a dancer, but he's not. So I put him on an action wobbler instead. But look how stinking cute he is. I'm here for the booze. And then this one is another like fun fold situation. I love a fun fold. But you know, happy birthday too, I guess. Hashtag seriously old. So he's adorable. 1019. This one is the Bestie alphabet beads, and you have like a full alphabet and your most common letters are repeated. This came out last fall. There was a bunch of stuff that wasn't Taylor Swift themed, but was, you know, kind of Taylor Swift themed. So this is the better press version. There's also a stamp version that we'll see later. I love that they've repeated your vowels, your A's, and some of your other really common letters, so you didn't have to be pressing and die cutting all day long. So 2 press plates and 1 die, and that's your 1019. Guilty pleasure of the year. This is a tote bag. It says die cutting is my superpower, because it kind of is, and it's massive. It's not going to fit well on camera, but here's a full sheet of cardstock. I've kind of folded this over up here, but kind of side by side. You can fit like 2 full sheets of cardstock. This guy is great, and there's like a little gusset on the bottom, so it will expand and you can hold lots of stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to tell you how much this is? It's $11.24, down from $15. I have a boatload of embossing folders to show you. These are all going to be $12, down from $16. This flurry of snowflakes is my go-to for winter cards with a snowy background. I know that there is another snow 3D embossing folder that came out later, like a year later. I like this one better. I don't know what it is. I love that pattern. So that one's my first pick. Then I have the raindrops embossing folder that I used on this Dancing in the Rain card, and it is also that same price. This is the 4-petal floral, and this one's sort of interesting. There is like a little flat section in the middle, so you could do a sentiment right in there. I love the florals on this, and on this card, I chose to put a shaker right in the middle where that flat part was. So there's lots of ways to stretch this one and get new looks out of it. Similarly, Autumn Serenade has a little flat circle section in the middle. I made a really quick and easy card here. I heat embossed a sentiment in that flat section and did a little bit of gold ink over the raised areas. And I love how easy that is. One of my favorite cards of the year is with this Argyle plaid. The texture on this one, the deboss is so deep and the lines are so crisp and they're at different heights. I love this one. It surprised me. Like I thought I'd like it, but like I really like it. All right, I have a sample using this somewhere. I saw it 3 or 4 days ago. It's called Holiday Lights. It's this fun like strand of light situation. There is a stencil option, or there was. It looks to be sold out on the Spellbinders website right now. I don't know if it will come back, but I really like that guy too. Then we have tufted, which is exactly what it sounds like. I'm all out of samples here, but I love the great pillowy roundness you get from this one. And then I've got one more, two more. This is plaster. And I wasn't sure, like from just the cardstock behind it, I was like, it's okay. But then I embossed it and I just ran like my gold ink pad lightly over the top. You guys, it's magical. It's so good. So all of those embossing folders are $12, originally $16. And then I have one more. This one is $12.74 down from $17. And I don't know if it's just that this one came out later. It's called Lush Leaves. I don't even know that it did. This was in the Weekender set. I love this one. I ended up with two and I gave one away during our 12 days of giveaways in December. It's just so great and very versatile because if you don't know that it's leaves, it can just look like texture. So tons of great embossing folder options. All right, I have a whole bunch of dies to show you that are $12.59 down from $21. And we're gonna start with Duck with Umbrella. I just think he's so stinking cute. And he's got this little like raincoat and rain boots he can wear. This one I made maybe last spring. These two I made 2 years ago, maybe longer. I love the duck. There is a little tutorial from like 2 years ago, so be kind if you watch the video, that shows you how I do the eye because it's a little different than the die. There's another set called Rain or Shine that came out at the same time. And so it has like this sun and then we have a little rainbow. I think there's some other pieces like smaller umbrella in there that I think is really great. There's, I think, some clouds too and a lightning bolt. I used the lightning bolt from that set on a different Harry Potter card. But then my other one I'm showing you first here is this faux embroidered pumpkin. So on this one with the dog, that's the pumpkin, right? It's a good size, really easy to put together. And then here I turned that hat into a sorting hat from Harry Potter. I did a whole bunch of Harry Potter cards a while back using Spellbinders dies and just some minor adjustments. I am not an artist, I'm a crafter. So if I can do it, you can do it. All right, so these are that same price point, the $12.59, and this one, it's like little cocktail garnishes, and there's this tiny little flamingo. You guys, so I made this like pop-up card, happy flocking birthday. And then this is the Lush Leaves in the background that I love so much. It's also that same embossing folder in the background here, and then you can see sort of our garnish on that card as well. So super easy, lots of fun, just little dies. I love that. Here we have the whimsical bottle brush trees, and I love, there's two different kinds of trees, but I love this one for the texture of it. And then I released a bunch of sentiments that would fit in a pocket. There's like a whole printable to tell you how to make the pocket, and you can print out a bunch of different like all seasons sentiments. So I love that one. And then this was also in the Weekender. It's called Fly Away, and you get a kite and an airplane. So we made this one in class, and we'll kind of look back at these clouds here in a little bit. Got something sticky on there. And then here I've used that same airplane, right? And it's this fun like pinwheeling effect. We looked at this smile die. It's the one that came with the stamp set earlier. So things keep coming back. Hopefully you're getting lots of looks and inspiration. Maybe you already have some of these dies. If you do, I would love to know in the comments, which of these do you already have and you use it a lot, or you've been looking for new inspiration. Few more at that same price point. This is the best alphabet beads and sentiments. And so you get here not just sort of the letter stamps, but phrases to go with it. And then there's a die to cut out just the letters. If you get the better press version of these, there is a die set that will cut them out. They match, they're the same size. Then this is the essential tags. Let me grab this one. So part of what I love about this one is that you can create this nested tag. And when I release rectangle sentiments, they are always the same size. So when I cut them out with my trimmer, they're 2 1/4 by 1 1/4 inches. Well, this tag die is the perfect size, and you can make a matte layer. And if it's on sale, it's a really great grab if you're the kind of person who loves to use the emergency card sentiments. I call them emergency cards because you can leave these off and then just grab a card in an emergency, and all of your sentiments are interchangeable in size. So if you're new here, hi, that's what I do. And then this last one is Say Cheese, and I haven't even gotten to use this one yet, but it's a little camera and there's a strap. It's super cute. So all of that from the last like 3 sets were $12.59. I have a giant box of items that is $14.39 and tons of inspiration to share with you. We'll start with this one. It is the 4-petal Thank You Floral, and I love these 2 blooms, and I often have used them not on the rest of this because you get like one piece of greenery and it kind of tells you where to put everything, but I don't like to follow the rules. So super cute. This one is originally $24. Then this one was a surprise. It's the Kaleidoscope Arches. It's a stitching die, but I don't stitch. I'm about to eat those words. You'll see in maybe a month, 2 months. But I found that when you layer up 2 of these, they are perfect for the emergency card circle sentiments. They are always 1 3/4 of an inch, like this happy birthday. And I just thought this was beautiful. It creates like a couple layers that sort of kaleidoscope behind each other. So I love that guy. And since we're staying at that same price point, let's do a few at a time. This is Gnome Drive Holiday. This is the original Gnome Drive set. It's the only one that has the car and the gnome, though you'll see those used on lots of samples for the other Gnome Drive pieces. I love that car because even if you don't like gnomes, it fits a lot of Karen Burniston's critter dies, and I have most of her critter dies because I love them. But here we have our Gnome Drive Holiday with the, I think that's the graduation set that might be sold out. I'm hoping it comes back. This is the Gnome Drive Holiday, just the holiday pieces. There was a stamp set that went with it, Let the Shenanigans Begin. You might be able to find some of these pieces at other shops if you're like, I really want this missing something that Spellbinders is sold out of, but they are on their way out. Gnome Drive Holiday. And then here, that's the Gnome Drive Graduation, and I've paired it with some other stuff. There's just so many ways to use this. You could use it for a new car card or somebody turning 16. Lots of really great ways. So again, all of these are going to be $14.39. This is the Merry Mug Creations, and I made this little critter, and he sits right inside of this mug. The critter comes from a different die set. I'm not super thrilled with the critter anyway, but the mugs, my friends, super cute. And then 2 of the die sets I've used on this card are in that same price point. So Up in the Air View and Backyard Haven Window. So I made an interactive card, right? So the window pulls out, and in the background, I have my little tree, and all of that is in that Backyard Haven. And then, I can't remember, was the kite in here? The kite is in this one, in the Up in the Air View. It's a whole collection called Windows with a View. So if you're looking for the other pieces of this collection, I think they're all still available. You can just go in the description box below and look at the collection because they're all on sale. They're just different price points. Still at the same price point. So this is Cheerful Kittens, and there's actually a couple different kitten variations, and then there's a banner. There's a stamp set you can get that coordinates with the banner. So I've just used like a little bit of a kitten here. Then Perched Birds. These make the most beautiful tropical birds. I have a bunch of pieces cut, but I don't have a sample for this one right now. And actually my price is wrong on the back of that. All of these are originally $24. And then this is the Cat and Pug accessories. We'll get to the big cat, big pug, big dog, big pug, I think, from BB Cameron. But the accessories can be used in a lot of ways. This bow can be used independently. These glasses, those are the glasses I used for Harry Potter here, right? So I like looking for ways to really stretch my dies and get more use out of them. This has been a super fun collection. So this is the Olive Martini, and I've made my little martini here. And I came out with a bunch of boozy sentiments. I've done this a couple times. So if you sort of look for that on my channel, you'll find them. There's an olive, an onion, an olive, a twist. I thought there were espresso beans, but I might have lost mine. And then over here, this is the Christmas cocktails, and you can put like a Santa belt on your cocktail and lots of other things, a bow and some other just really, really fun embellishments. But I've used it here without the cocktails. I really think it's great to show ways that you can use an add-on die set without the base die set because I do it all the time. So those 2, super fun. This is Dancing Klondike, and he's the best. He is a super tall moose with a sweater. He's adorable. He's got boots. My friends, I gave away my card with this guy. So he is also that 1439 top pick from the year. This one and Dancing Douglas that we'll come across later. I missed one. This is the booze cocktails. So there is a Halloween add-on. And again, I made a Halloween cocktail Friday and I can't find it. They're all in the same pile. I don't know. Maybe I'll come back later and be like, hey, I found them. And you'll see them at the end. But until then, just know there is a Halloween add-on that you can put with that. Also at $14.39, this is heart hands. There are 4 hands because they layer up. So we have the black ones in the background and then the lighter ones in front. And then there's a little like bracelet situation. These are really, really cute. I came out with a bunch of printable like quotes from Taylor Swift and different ways you can print them. So in the background, that's a free printable that you can use. And then here we have Rocky the Dancing Yeti. I love him so much. He's so cute. He's got a little belly button. You guys. So absolutely adorable. I love all the dancing dies, especially the dancing birthday dies. So $14.39. All right. And then finishing off this category, $14.39 down from $24. I have a bunch of like basic shapes, things that you can use over and over and over again. This is the least basic. It's called the nested tree frame. This guy is big, right? So if this is an A2 card, you can see that would fill your A2 card front. Can't find my sample. There's a little tree and then frames. So super, super cute. And you can keep all the little confetti fallout and make a shaker out of it. This one is beautiful. It's called Labels 24. And if you cut twice and then you rotate so that the points come out this way the next time, you can create a really beautiful flower shape. Our everlasting circles, just basic circle dies. They're already snipped apart. Love that. And then these are, again, a basic nested die, but a unique shape. The Essential Modern ovals are tall and skinny. So I'm going to grab my card base again. You can see that's 5.5 inches, that biggest one, top to bottom. But I don't know, he's not that wide. There's probably an inch, 3/4 of an inch over here. So I love being able to get an extra sort of shape out of things or here to extend a mini slimline. So those I think are a lot of fun. I have a handful of items at exactly $15. This is the Scattered Tropics 3D embossing folder, and it's this lovely like tropical leaves pattern. I love this one. It's so great. This was one of the embossing folders of the month. So originally 20, these are down 25%. But there's another one that was an embossing folder of the month called the Classic Backdrop. And I don't know where it is, you guys, and I'm panicking because it's my favorite. And it is just this sort of crosshatch pattern and dots connecting them in the background. I use it all the time. It'll show up. I hope it shows up, but it is also $15. Okay, so love those, couple samples with those. The Big Bicycle, this was from The Weekender. We made this card with BB Cameron. She designed the set, and it's like a little like flip out bicycle. Originally $40, I want to say, $39.99, down to $15. And it's got all kinds of extra little bits, flowers and wine bottles and things that you can put inside the baskets. And I think this came out with the pugs and cats. And so you could probably fit them in here. Like she tends to design really smartly. So I would guess that will work. And then this is from Propagation Garden. The collection itself, I'm not a grower of things, right? I'm growing myself and my children, but I loved the laboratory glasses because like this is nerdy and I married a nerd and my nerd likes nerdy things. So last week before, I can't remember, I came out with a video where I repurposed some dies from another company. I work with Trinity Stamps a lot too. And I made Beaker and Dr. Bunsen Honeydew. And I absolutely want to pair these. I took my Bunsen Honeydew to Creativation and I think my boss still has them. So hopefully that's coming back. If not, I'll just make another one because these are going to my husband for his birthday. I have a ton of supplies at $16.79, down from $27.99. This is a classic favorite. The parcel and post mailbox that came out around Christmas time, but it can be used for so many different occasions. I stuck a little girl in there trying to get whatever out of there. This little thing flaps open, but the florals in here, I've seen Giannis Makula do cards just with the florals in here. Stunning. And then over here, this is the Infinity Punch and Pierce plate. We made this one maybe during a crop and create. And it punches out all these little holes, but it will separate the different colored layers here. So I could use some on the inside of my shaker and some on the outside of my shaker. And I love that. Then I have a bunch of basic shape dies, ones that I reach for all the time. So these are the essential arches. And I just want you to see how close together these are. I mix and match these. Well, I mix and match all my brands, but I think it's so beautiful. You get a ton of them in here. So these are all, again, $28 to start with. This is the Hexy Gems. I wasn't sure I was going to use this one much. These florals keep coming up over and over again. That's from the Envelope of Wonder, and we'll get to that. They're some of my favorite florals. But I used it on this little pop-up card here. I have a bunch of pop-up cards like this on the channel. This is the notched corner frames. And I've used it on both of these cards. This one has like a little inset window. And then here I made a joy fold card. And because this is completely flat on the side, I was able to make a little mini card easily that opens up to make my card. Then the heartfelt thanks and scallops. There's a bunch of hearts in there, the word thanks, and then 3 layers of scallops. And that largest scallop is almost the same as an A2 size card. Those are those layered cosmos that I was talking about with that foiled vellum before. This is the better press version of it. And then here, I've just made a shaped card out of it. I cut it twice, and then I scored it up at the top, and I just glued it right along that flap. So I love a scallop, right? Maybe it's because scallops were very popular when I started stamping, but I will never let them go. I'm just not going to do that. And then the Perfect Touch rectangles have been like my go-to rectangle lately. It's just got this little extra detail that I think steps up your card design. So I've used it here. This is Danson Douglas, by the way. We'll talk about him later. But I love that. I just think it's so beautiful. There's a little tag in the middle with some extra detail on it as well. So all of those basic shape dies are $16.79, down from $28. Apparently, we're going to talk about Danson Douglas right now. I thought he was in a different bin at a different price point, but no, also at $16.79. This is Danson Douglas. You've got tons of great pieces. I didn't even use them all. There's like a little lantern, and then I don't know what sort of like decorative, festive bauble that is, but it's cute, and so is he. It's the eyes, you guys. I actually love the eyes, I think, more than anything else about this. His little legs swing back and forth. And then for this one, I made another one of those cards where it will swing from the outside to the inside. So that's, I think, in the same tutorial as the Fairy Tale Carriage one with like printables and instructions and all that kind of stuff. So Danson Douglas. And then this is the festive ornaments. My friends, I wrote bundle only on this when I was looking earlier this week. I could not find this die set. I embossed my little circle, and then I've just got my little topper here. You've got all kinds of different ways to dress up your ornament. I used a different bow. I don't know why. This bow is adorable. This one, I think, comes from one of the wreath add-ons, probably the birthday wreath, or one of those. They all have really, really beautiful wreaths in them. Then the party puggles. Look at him. He's got a top hat and a present. And sometimes when you make critters, their eyes get creepy, but not this one. Nope. And there's a couple different ways you can have your pug sitting. So adorable. I love this one. And then you've got all the extras, right? You've got a cupcake, you've got a present, a party hat, a bow, a top hat. So stinking cute. Okay, so keep him in mind when I cannot find my big pug card because there's like a full A2 size card version of this guy as a die, and we're going to get there later. Then this one's really unique. This is the Christmas add-on for the Not Your Ordinary something, right? It was not your ordinary, and then a whole bunch of stuff. This comes with coordinating stamps. This was the Christmas add-on, so they're Christmas themed stamps, but not exclusively. And this ticket, I was able to repurpose. I had to shrink down my emergency sentiments a little bit. If you have a paid membership in my Patreon, you can do it very easily. But if you don't, just in your printer, when you're in your print settings, instead of telling it to print at 100%, tell it to print at 80% or 50%, and they'll get smaller, right? You just have a little less control. But that's what I did for this one. I think I printed at 80% and it fit perfectly on here. Holidays are hard, sending love and hugs. And then right here, that piece and that heart came out of there too. This circle is the same size as my standard mat for a circle emergency sentiment. So I just thought there were lots of really fun ways to use this one as well. There's a Halloween version of this that has a cat in it that would not need to be for Halloween, but it's sold out right now. But you might go peek at it because also super cute. And then there's a bunch of these press plates. This one's a little cheaper than some. This is the peony background, and I think it was the first one that came out because it does not have a stencil option available. But what's really unique is that it's going to better press the background, okay? And so actually, it's really easy to go in after you've better pressed or hot foiled and just use like a little blending tool in there. So you don't need a stencil or stencil option. And that brings this one down to that $16.79 price point. All right, I have a bunch of stuff to show you that is $17.99 down from $30, starting with this press plate. It's the Buffalo Plaid, and I have used it here. I thought for sure I wasn't going to be able to ink this well enough for it to press cleanly or stamp cleanly. First try, not a problem. I love these. I don't know what it is about a better press plate, but they foil better than my hot foil plates. They stamp beautifully. Some people will tell you you can just re-ink and run it back through on your better press machine. I cannot. I have never been able to make that work. Things shift, but I also mostly haven't needed to. Okay, so worth knowing. I think some people oversell it a little bit. I always want to be honest with you. But here's this one. Again, all of these are going to be at the same price point. This is that candy cane stripe. There's an embossing folder version of this, and then there's a better press version of this. And if I'm honest, I'm not sure which version this is. They're both great. They look nearly the same, okay? So really, really beautiful. It's called Candy Cane Stripe. This one is called Sprinkled Confetti, and I know there was a card in there somewhere that used it in the background, but it was subtle because I hot foiled it with Aura foil, which is just like, just makes it a little opalescent, but doesn't really change the color. You can use this as snow falling, confetti falling, bubbles coming up from the bottom. Something like this is like my ideal plate. I have a whole section in my drawer of like Spellbinders stuff that is just backgrounds. Okay, so kind of right now I'm showing you a bunch of my favorite backgrounds. This one is newer. This is kind of like, I can't remember, the one we were just looking at. This one is the Poppy. There is a stencil option, but so it's $17.99 for just the plate. And what I did, I pressed it once. I used Versamark or VersaFine Onyx Clair in black. I mangled that, but black pigment ink, okay? And then I just threw some embossing powder, clear embossing powder over the top. And so now I could go in and ink this any way I wanted to. My ink's not gonna move. Do you need the stencil, right? I think I'm supposed to be influencing you to buy stuff, but honestly, like, the stencil's nice. You don't need the stencil, okay? But a bunch of them like this have a stencil option. And I just keep this guy in here so I remember about this brilliant embossing powder thing I did. The stitched star-filled background. Let me find that sample. All right, so here's a sample with that stitched background, but I didn't stitch it, okay? Yes, it leaves holes, so I put some black glitter cardstock back there. I don't think it's picking it up on camera, but in person, I can see the light hit those little flecks of glitter back there. I think it's a lot of fun. So don't let the die boss you around. You don't have to stitch it. This is the Starshine background. It's gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that pattern in there. Ugh, I love just a pierced pattern I don't know what it is. That's a favorite. I don't have a sample for this. The emerald cut shapes. They used to have some really basic shapes with this sort of detail around the outside edges, and they've been getting rid of them. So when I saw this one, I was like, yes, must try it. And then I gave my cards away. And so now I'll have to make some more. Really beautiful. This one, this is stunning. It's the mirror arch labels, mirrored arch. It's late. No, it's late. But this is it. This is that label in the background. And actually, if you turn it sideways, it kind of does look like a label that would go on a jar. But I love these, and they're really close together, so you can get a nice fine border, which I love. Then we have the Essential Stylish ovals. This is the fat oval, where the other one was the skinny oval. And so here I've used it to create like a little recessed window. I love it. Again, all of these are $18, down from $30. The fresh picked labels and tags. I showed you a sample with this. It's the one with the airplane. It's this guy. See that? Imagine that instead of putting this on a card, you did it upright and you made it into an ornament to go on your tree. Super fun. And then this one also has those shaker domes that are on sale. So love this one. A great find for the year. And then here again, we have that sort of pierced hatching detail on this one. This is the best sample I still have. And I've just used one of the smaller arches, and I love that it extends the arch and sort of the little hatch marks bury behind the other like plain arch, just to give another look. So super great. The largest one has some scallop detail down at the bottom. All of those basic shape dies are $18. We have more options at that same price point. So $17.99. The birthday wreath add-on gets more use than many of my other die sets combined because it has everything. There's a party hat, there's a present. The bow on that present is to die for. And then there's just like little streamers and stuff and balloons in here. So I have a ton of samples with that. This is the balloons, and then on the inside, I did a pop-up. I covered everything up because it's actually my son's birthday card. But I love it, and he was gonna lose it, and he was like, Mom, can I just keep it in your room? Yes, you can, sir. Yes, you can. Here, I just used a little party hat, and then here, I just used the present. I love when you can add one small die cut element and let it step up the whole card. This is one of those sets. So even though, I mean, we're talking about an $18 set on sale, there's so much in here. It even has a happy birthday as well. I love that one. Then we have Halloween Wonder. I love the whole Envelope of Wonder series. I have most of the pieces cut out here. There are also some ghosties that I stole out of here a long time ago and I haven't put back. But there's tons of cute stuff. And I think it's a fun way to sort of embellish a treat or you know, some other small gift during the fall. The Whimsical Winter Critters, I showed you a while back. I pulled a little guy out of a teacup that I wasn't thrilled with, the little critter, but there's tons of critter elements in here, right? You've got hats, you've got different kinds of ears and eyes. There's little earmuffs, so cute. Here, I used those earmuffs on a disco ball. Like they were the perfect fit. We'll talk about that disco ball in a minute. This is the Botanical Solarium. Again, all of these are the same price point. I love the plants in here. Paper plants are my favorite plants. And this one just gives you tons of different options. It's a big set. And this came out with that Windows with a View collection. So super great. And then we have like the actual window. And this guy's huge. When I bring that sample back in, you can see it takes up nearly the entire card front. I saw people doing absolutely beautiful things with this window during the holidays and like a lit up Christmas tree on the inside. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that next year. This is Gathering Stitches, and it creates this sort of stitched area. So you get the hoop, you get the rainbow. I love all the little different like sizes and shapes of rainbow pieces. You get all the little embellishments. There's no actual stitching on this one. This was in the Weekender. I love this one a lot. I've used it on a lot of different things. And then this one is the Bestie Heart in Hand. We've seen the jersey before, but here there's a couple different hand options, and I just left that open. This is like a little ornament for someone to take off. This is that bracelet set that is out of stock, but when I've been showing you there's a better press and a stamp version that makes the letter beads, that's what they look like, okay? And then I just used one of my sentiments, emergency sentiments, up in the corner. This is a 5x7 card. Okay, so all of those, 18 bucks. I have a couple things to show you at $19.19. This is the Glimmering Peonies. There was a peony and a buttercup that came out at the same time, and they sold so fast. And so I got to them late. There is a stencil option, but that $19.19 does not include the stencil. Y'all, I didn't need the stencil here. Not really. I just needed a small blending brush, and it is a beautiful background, and it hot foils really beautifully. So that is a top pick option. And then here, I made a ton of cards with our press plates for our disco balls. Okay, so as it runs through your better press, it doesn't fill in all of your little mirrored pieces, but that's, you know, sort of standard for a mirror ball. There is a stencil you can get to go with it. And I have a card here where I've used the stencil, and like, it's cool, it's fun, but I don't feel like I'm missing out big time without it. I think that this is a really great set all on its own, and it has dies. I'm missing one of them. I think I stole it because it was the right size for emergency sentiments. But there are dies for all three of those disco balls in there as well. So those are the same price point, both of them, $19.19 down from $32. I have a bunch of favorites at $19.79 down from $33. This is the Christmas wreath add-on, all of the wreath add-ons, amazing. And for this set, it's this tree. I love this tree. It's so beautiful. But then I also love Season's Greetings is in this set. It's on the back. And then this little top hat. He's supposed to go on the snowman. I don't know that I've ever made this snowman because it's so stinking cute, and you just stick it on the corner of a sentiment and your card is done. I ran it through an embossing folder. I rubbed it with some metallic ink. I added my couple small die cuts, and I made a bunch of these for the holidays. Okay, so that's the Christmas wreath add-on. Fresh picked anemones. There are a bunch of fresh picked die sets, and they're meant to go a certain way on an A2 card front. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that style. It's a very popular art style. This one I loved. I didn't love them all, but I loved this one. You've seen it a couple times already in samples. And so here I just did some like strips of cardstock in the background. Those are the notched corner frames, and then my red anemones just for that like really bold pop of black, white, and red, a gold accent. Love those. Then this is the Coastal Escape View. It's from that Windows with a View collection, but this one is for the sea. And so all of the dies come in the same set. And so this one, I also made like a little pull-out situation. I didn't use any specialty dies for these. I just used the dies that were in the set, but you could do something very similar with just plain circle dies. And then there are 3 sets of dies that came out at the same time. I'm going to show you this one because most of my samples are MIA. So this is the Tunnel Clouds, and it creates layers of clouds that can nest on top of each other. This is just a card with lots of dimension, but you could absolutely make a box card. There's tons of tutorials on YouTube, people making box cards with these. And then this one uses the underwater tunnel. There's a third one on the back here, but you can do the same kind of thing. Or I thought that looked like a blob of paint or some other kind of artistic blob. And so I made this card out of it. I like to reimagine how I'm looking at and seeing my dies. And then this one, I wish I still had a sample with this one. There are 3 of these little like wavy, wiggly V's, and people have done really great stuff with it. The Rainbow Slice. These are enormous die sets when you think about like you've got 3 layers of each of these. So that's why those are $33 die sets to start with. But they are on sale right now, which is really exciting. And then the Essential Envelopes. this one, this flower is absolutely stunning. We have for you, some leaves, and then there's a die to make like a pocket, right? It's not just an envelope, it's a whole pocket. And so when we were looking at the dies with the tags, the sort of tag and stamp set, they coordinate with this. And the pieces are intended to like be a swag that goes underneath that scoop. But I just thought this was a whole lot of fun. I don't think I still have any of my cards with this. And then this one, I thought this was super unique. So you've got one better press piece and you get that stitching detail and your sentiment. You've got one die and then you've got little matte layers to step them up. They're like little emergency sentiments for the holidays, but you can do them in like a metallic ink on a dark cardstock, which I love. Like a black watercolor cardstock works great for this. There's so many different ways to use them or to hot foil them. So I love that one. And then one more at this price point. This is an older one called All the Tools. And it truly is like just a boatload of tools. And so I used 3 of them, 4 of them. I can count, y'all. 4 of them here. 2 my favorite, Weekend Warrior. You nailed it, right? So I have a bunch of masculine sentiments. I've come out with masculine sentiment kits a couple of times to help you really stretch those dies. If you're noticing that on some of my packaging, the price is different than what I'm telling you, it's because prices have gone up over time. And so not all of mine match. Some of them match, some of them don't match. And so I've double checked everything as I'm sort of presenting things to you. So I promise I'm doing my best to give you accurate sales prices, but also like regular prices. Everything in this pile is $20.25, down from $27. These were small die of the month kits. This is the Rain Boot Bouquet. Really gorgeous, tons of options. I think all the florals I used here are in this set, but this came out at the same time as some other florals that were also a club kit. So most of what's in here, if not all of it, came from this one set. I just used pattern paper for the boots. Then we have Birthday Bliss. This is a newer one. It's from the fall in November, and that turtle is so stinking cute. And he swings. I made like a little swinging turtle in there. And I did some custom sentiments for these too that will fit on the banner that's in this set. There's also like a sloth. He kind of looks like that sock monkey stuffed animal thing that came out when I was a kid or was around a lot when I was a kid. So Birthday Bliss, one of my very favorites. There was a whole like book themed club release and I made some Harry Potter cards and some other cards. This is the Wise Owl, and if he's not supposed to be the Hogwarts Owl, I don't know what was going on. So I did a bunch of Harry Potter sentiments. This one is wonderful. Wizardly Birthday Wishes. There's a book, there's the owl, glasses, all kinds of fun stuff in there. There's a little letter with a seal. I mean, seriously. And then this one, this was from the fall. Hands down, all of the kits that came out this month, some of my very favorites. And so we have this little penguin and a polar bear. So I put my penguin in this little like spinny bubble. And then on the inside, I did a pop-up with our polar bear. Okay. And then there's a bunch of lights that you can sort of strand around the polar bear. And I just think they're super fun. So I've shown you another card somewhere. I can't find it now with that polar bear, but I think I made a dozen. He's so quick and easy and he's a lot of fun. Just a few pieces and you've got this great card and he's big. So all of those are $20.25 and they're all Forma Club kits. And so they tend not to come down much lower than that if they're really popular to start with. Like this owl one has been out since March of 2024 and I've never seen it lower than that. So just a heads up. All right, we're almost done. This is the Stitched Christmas Sweater. He's like the only one, I think at this price point, he's $35.99, or he originally $35.99 and he's down to $21.59. And it's this big old sweater die. It says stitched because there are stitching pieces here and I've never stitched it. I have made dozens, hundreds, I don't know, ugly Christmas sweaters. I just think they're so funny. Put anything on them. Use them through all of the colder months, which is like most of the year where I live. So I think he is an awful lot of fun. I don't know how much longer he's going to stick around because he came out not last summer, the summer before. So just be aware of that. If there's stuff that's been out for quite a while, Spellbinders doesn't keep things indefinitely. And I'm about to see some of my favorites go away. Okay, and then this batch, I have 2 more batches for you. These are all $25.79 down from $43. So this is the Hummingbird Card Creator, and it makes a 5x7 hummingbird. I cut it down to be the front of an A2. This bird is so quick and easy to put together and really, really stunning. And then there's florals you can add on to him. Then the Envelope of Wonder, and I have been showing you cards with this all night long. These are the florals from the Envelope of Wonder, and I love that they're asymmetrical and kind of quirky. I like the pop of gold here with the bold, bright colors, but there is also like an actual envelope die in here. I think I have them sandwiched in the middle. Okay, and it's not huge. It's not a full A2. It's meant to be sort of decorative. There's another piece or two that goes with this, but it's super fun. I'll be honest, I think I've used the actual envelope once. I just love these flowers. You've seen them over and over again tonight. So this one, I'm afraid we're gonna see this go away. We don't have the Autumn Wonder anymore except in the bundle. So if you're interested, I would grab it. Then we have the big pug and the big cat. These have huge dies. Look at this. It's an A2 card. And I literally made a pug-shaped card Friday. I have not found it. And y'all, I've gone down and made dinner and eaten dinner with my kids. And then I've gone down and hung out with my husband after he got home from work. And I keep coming back up and hoping that they will just like magically appear on my desk, but they haven't. So there are 2 big animal-shaped cards, the cat and the dog, and those are also at that $25.79 price point. This looks like a lot, but it's just that I have a lot of samples because these are favorites. I wouldn't show you a $30 item on sale if it was not something I truly loved, okay? These are former Large Die of the Month items, and they're very popular Large Die of the Month. So they don't really get cheaper than $30. If they were on sale but not as cheap as they sometimes are, I would leave them out. But that's not what's happening here. So I'm going to kind of walk you through a bunch of different, not a bunch, a handful of samples, and we're going to start with the books. I'm an English teacher. I love books. I love books. This has a house, some foliage, a bunch of books. I love that there's an open book. And then we've got some trees. And so I've used our books here for like a book and wine club. This was an old Large Die of the Month that actually came out just before this one, a couple months before this one, and it's been gone for 6 months. Then here I've used it. A card is just a small book, and then this one lights up. There's like a whole twinkle light situation. You can get those lights at Spellbinders, and all the pages say I love you. Here I've just used pattern paper and a couple of books. Hope this year is one for the books. I love this. So classic tales. Then these are all out of order, but that's okay. The honeybee jar. I wasn't sure I was going to like this one. Tons of pieces. This is not available anymore. That was a separate add-on. But we have a bunch of flowers, and then we have our jar. And so this one, I just made a shaped card. And then this one, it's all shook up right now, but you can take the lid off and these pieces will come out. Okay. So I have a whole tutorial for that if you want to see how I made that one. I just stacked them up. I thought it was a lot of fun. And anytime I do something like that, it just becomes like a big part of my heart and something I will always remember. So this one is fun. Then, oh, this guy. This was right there with the little penguin and the polar bear. So the Large Die of the Month at that time was this cozy slippers set. And you get a foot and a slipper and a pant leg. So there are monster feet in here. Okay, so I did one, Death Creeps Ever Closer. That's a nice birthday card with my monster feet. But then a lot of these, I've just been using these little guys on everything independent of the legs. But there is such cute inspiration out there. If you look up the cozy slippers, so good. I love that one. I think it'll be around for a long time if you're like trying to pare back and figure out what to get and what not to get yet. Then the Grand Tropical Flamingos was from last May. So there's one of our flamingos. You've got two and they'll face each other. And so I did a whole like big display card for like a winter themed, Christmas themed flamingo. I just love him. I had a ton of fun that month. There's a tutorial, I think, for this one as well. So I love this a lot. In addition to the flamingos, you get these really beautiful leaves of different kinds. And then you get this great flower that's in there, okay? So there's a ton in that one, all the large die of the month. I don't know of any other company. Well, that's not really true, but I just feel like they jam pack a lot of small dies into their large sets. And I have a ton of fun with that because you don't have to use them all. This is the last one I want to show you. It's called Whale in a Bottle. I can't find my favorite sample. I made a card for my husband. I turned it on its side and I did like a little island scene. And it's kind of a shaker. And there's like an envelope that floats around in there. And I hid in the neck of the bottle. I wound up a secret message and you could pull the cork this way and it would come out and reveal this message and you could wind it back in there. Anyway, neither one of us can find it right now. Obviously, I'm cleaning the craft room this weekend, but it's been busy. I've got another huge like sneak peek announcement coming probably this weekend. So stay tuned for that. But I hope this is all helpful for you. If you want to see the tutorial or even just pictures of that card, just look for Whale in a Bottle on my channel. I would link it, but I'm out of room. I'm so sorry. But I hope this is helpful. The links below are affiliate links. If you click on them, I make a small commission from the sale. If you use them, great. I know some of you go out of your way to use them and to support the work that I do to try to offer free printables and sentiments and that sort of thing. But really, if you're not shopping, don't worry about it. Just go to the emergency card kit playlist below, get some freebies, and see if you like it. I would love to have you hit the subscribe button and stick around, and come back on Friday. We'll have a big free kit coming out, and that's a lot of fun too. So thank you all so much for spending your time with me. I will see you next time.